are coming up, and it's usually during this time when people feel the most alone. When, even though sometimes there's a whole lot of people around you, family and friends, you still feel alone. And you don't know what to do. And some people can walk out of there and say, you know what, I'm okay. But other people just retreat and retreat and retreat within themselves because they're in such a dark, dark place and you don't know how to get out. You don't know. So if this is you, please hold on for a moment and let's listen to how Devin got himself out of that hard hole and how he found his freedom through finding his place out of suicide. Hello, Devin. How are you today?
Carina. Hi, I'm doing great today. Thanks.
Thank you, Devin, for being here. And I know this is quite a dark kind of subject for some, but I'm hoping to shed the light, like we spoke before, like to shed a light on this and allow people to look at it and realize that it's not a taboo subject, really, because we need to look at it and we need to realize that we're all human and we all have fear and we all have depression and we all feel that darkness. And there's someone that's felt it and we can shine a light on it and allow people to see that light. So thank you, Devin, for being here. Please tell me a bit about how you felt in those darkest moments and how you got there and how you got out.
Well, I just want to say most of my life before my darkest moment, I didn't have any symptoms of depression or bipolar disorder or psychosis, really strange thinking. All that stuff happened to me after I dropped out of school, after I developed mental illness, and it was a combination of challenging triggers. And then I remember, one time I was in this phase, kind of going down the abyss, really the dark hole, lying down in my bed, and I'm just crying. And my mom comes up, and she comes up real close to me, and she says, "Devin, what's wrong?" And I remember saying, I don't know what's wrong. And that was one of the hardest things, not knowing why this was happening, not knowing what to do about it, thinking that I was alone. And I've had other instances. Growing up and when I was healthy and happy, and I never had any crying experiences, crying myself. I cried myself to sleep one night when I was up in college. I remember in this really nice, beautiful mansion. It was a rehab because I was addicted to marijuana, and I was just lying there, this beautiful place, and I'm just crying. Why am I crying? And the suffering. It was really. I felt like I was the only one in the universe that was going through these sorts of feelings. It was feelings and also thoughts. I had really negative thoughts, a lot of judgments towards myself, and also judgments towards everybody else. And I think before I was a judgmental person, but this was just to the max. And as much as I judged other people, it came right back on myself every time. And I didn't know how to stop the cycle. And let's see, it got to the point where I was tired. I was tired of this cycle. I was tired of when I went to sleep, I wished I didn't wake up. When I got up, I wish I would go back to sleep. For a small period, things were like that. And I remember, if you want me to go into the suicidal part, I can, or unless you want me to wait.
Okay.
How far you wanted me to go?
Yes. Okay. So I just wanted to ask you a few things. Was there any way that you felt like there was help outside, or were you so stuck? What was that feeling that you were so stuck in the cycle of darkness that? Did you even see if someone was reaching a hand out? Could you even see that hand?
Never. I would see these great doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, specialists, And I never thought that they could help me because I didn't think that my problem was treatable. I thought that I was the worst, A, or B, I had this lack of insight because I remember I had bipolar disorder. So I still do. But when I was manic, I thought that I was the man. I thought that I was in control of my destiny. You know, no one could touch me. I'm smarter than the doctors. I don't need any help. And then when I would get depressed, I thought that I was beyond help. How could someone be able to fix the dark, deep depression that I'm in? It was just, and I was, there's nobody that could help me. So it wasn't that wasn't in my reality. Getting help. Now it's completely different. But at that time, I felt that I was beyond help, and I also thought that there was nobody that I could talk to. I thought that nobody could understand. So both those things would go back and forth in my mind.
Okay, so obviously then the darkness just got worse and worse, right? Or what happened after that?
Yeah, the darkness got worse and worse, and I mean, I tried. I tried. That's the thing. I didn't really try. I didn't have the attempts that I made to get out were very feeble. I would get discouraged so easily, and each time I came back, with less hope and less belief that I could get better, and also the hope meter. I think that's the main thing about the darkness is when our hope gets lower and lower and lower and lower. I mean, I think regular, like a healthy person, they have hope and then they get discouraged and they're able to build that hope again. And there's many ways, many different ways. Just kind of looking outside and seeing how beautiful the trees are. That you have hope for the future. For me, I would be lying in bed and I'd be looking outside. It's a beautiful day, and I just stay in bed. And I'd criticize myself. Why are you staying in bed? It's a beautiful day outside. Why are you staying in bed? Like, remember that why is this happening? So, there was no hope. Trying to understand something and not getting any answers, it takes away the hope that the future is going to be better. Because that's what hope is. Hope is towards a better future. And when I've had so many defeats in my past, I'm like, that hope is it's hard to see. And I mean, I was not future minded at all. I couldn't even think about the next day. I was just trying to get through today. Let's see, you asked me about the darkness getting darker and darker. Yeah, I remember there was about a period of 4 months where I became suicidal. And in my roller coaster, every time I got to the bottom, I thought about it. And it actually became like a hope that I don't need to stay here anymore. I don't need to be experiencing this anymore. I don't need to be experiencing this type of pain and suffering that I never had my whole life. So it was very uncomfortable. So I didn't like it. I didn't want to that force of recovery, of wanting to make things better. It wasn't there. There was no the persevering, which I have now, persevering spirit, kind of want to live. I was kind of experiencing the opposite, and it got to the point where I didn't want to live anymore. And it wasn't the fact that I thought that me leaving this earth, all the people that I would hurt, or what I could do to myself, what the physical kind of like the physical pain the physical pain I would that because that's kind of what I see with suicide, is we're either going to hurt a lot of people if we're successful, or we're going to hurt ourselves really bad. And most of the times we hurt ourselves. If you see people's scars and you see people's going to the ER with pills, or even it's hard. It's very the likelihood of us being successful. And I've spent a lot of time with my peers who have attempted suicide. It's very small. As it's most likely we're not going to be successful, like such as myself. I don't remember it, but I remember thinking about it. I remember telling.
Okay, just one moment. Sorry, Devin. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to ask you. A question. Like at that moment, when you say, you know what, you don't think about anybody. You don't think about what the possibility that you're not successful. You don't think about your family. You don't think about anything. Your only thought is about ending your life, right? Ending the pain. That's what I'm hearing.
That's exactly correct.
What if someone came to you at that point before? Would you? And I know I've asked you this question again, but I'm going to ask you again before. But I'm going to ask you again. If someone came to you at that point and said, "Devin, here's a hand. Do this, or I can help you," would you see that hand at that moment?
If there was hope, I think so. I think if someone was able to give me hope somehow, some way, I might have snapped out of it.
What does hope look like for Devin?
Oh gosh, that's great. Hope, it's maybe finding something that I was good at in the past or that I loved in the past, and it had me being able to bring that back. Maybe not even just doing it, but just the remembrance of it. Because in that moment of just complete torment and pain, I can't remember anything good, anything that I used to have a passion about, or anyone that I used to love. I can't. I'm just so closed inside that little box. So yeah, I would say what the hope looks like is reminding me of something in the past that I loved doing, and maybe the possibility of doing something like that again.
Okay, so how would someone show you that hope at that moment when you're in that darkest time, when you don't care about anybody, when all you care about is ending the pain and ending your life? How can someone show you that hope?
Interesting. Right now, the vision that I have going back, because I like sports a lot. So if there was a person like a counselor or a family member or a friend that took me out to, say, like a basketball court or a volleyball court. I used to be very good at volleyball, and we played and encouraged me like, man, it would be great to be encouraged. Now that was, so finding something that I used to be good at and encouraging me and pointing that out and looking at me and seeing who I really am and being, you're really good. I said, tell me about what it used to be like. I said, and being genuinely interested in me. And at that time, I didn't have anybody that was able to do that.
Okay, thank you, Devin. Now we'll just continue about. So that's beautiful. Thank you. Now tell me what happened after that. So you were in this darkest time. You didn't care. I mean, you can't. I mean, you're in so much turmoil, so much pain. That you cannot think of anything else but the pain, right? You don't care about your life. You don't care about anybody around you. You don't care about family or anything, because all you want to do is end this pain. What did you do then at that moment?
Well, I remember being on the 3-story balcony where I was living in a large sober living with lots of people, and being on the balcony, and I was in like lying on my side crying. And this was like just the soul cry. I mean, as deep, as anguished as a person can get. And it's interesting that the other people that I talked to that have survived suicide had a similar experience. It's interesting, this soul, just this, I mean, everything inside you is coming out. And so, yeah, I had that experience. And then I told one of the counselors, and then the counselors brought me to the mental hospital. And that didn't do anything. I mean, they let me go like the next day saying, you're okay. And I barely remember. I'm kind of in a fog. I wasn't really there. I was only halfway there, and they said, okay, you can go. And apparently, I don't remember this, but when I came back to the sober living, I was downstairs and I was really angry or something. I don't. And then I went upstairs. No one was around, obviously, and I jumped off of the balcony. There was a ledge, and I stood up on the ledge and I jumped down head first. And that was like my plan for a while, like not for months. My plan was to hit my head and break my neck, or hit my skull and have the brain hit the blood and just die. Then I always snapped out of it, and I always found reasons at the very end why I shouldn't do it. Like, oh, if I fell, someone might see me and it will really scare them. Or, oh, if I jumped, I might hurt somebody down there. Or so something always, or like I would go to the building and there's a security guard that would kind of say, "What are you doing here?" So something always would happen to snap me out of it. But this time was different. This time, I remember, like, I kind of, like, I was fully 100% convinced. Like, it was almost like my spirit left me and went before me and was like preparing for this event.
So what was it? Yes. Okay. So what was it that changed, that made you what was it? What was the turning point that said, you know what, this is enough. I'm not going to rationalize this anymore. I'm just going to do it. What was that defining moment?
That defining moment, it was in that period of the 4 months where I was suicidal. I just thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And it just became to the point where I was so alone and so, I mean, I'm living in this place with like 20 other guys, and I felt so alone. And the thoughts just kept meditating on it over and over. And it got to the point where, I mean, I think there's a universal principle there where as you think something enough, it kind of will happen. It will manifest.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, but I think I was preparing or meditating on something that became inevitable. I just thought about it so much. And then when I got to the mental hospital, they didn't do anything. I mean, they didn't catch it. It was like I had another. I was really good at hiding it. I was really good at not telling anybody. I became really good at. It was like my secret. It was my addiction, and like the point. The point of no return. I think that was just when it was like addiction. Like the more I thought about it, the bigger it got, and I didn't want to tell anybody because I felt like if I told anybody, I would lose that hope that I can get out of the pain.
Okay, so now for someone that doesn't understand, right? Someone that's on the outside, a parent, or were there any signs, or in retrospect, that if you looked at yourself from a third person, were there any signs that someone would have picked up that you were ready to jump? Were there any subtle signs or something that someone maybe can pick up if their loved one is in that kind of situation?
The darkness that was on my face, like I see pictures, like the past year, I'm always looking down. I have this like darkness. At that time, I was just kind of a recluse. Like I would just be by myself. I was also having some psychotic experiences. I didn't say, like I turned the closet at the house into like my little kind of dojo. Like I would like burn incense in there, and I'd have like little like spiritual writings on this little closet, and I wouldn't sleep, and I would have these kind of I would engage with some of the other clients or residents. I would engage with them in a really kind of energetic way. Like we would talk, we would meet, and we would just kind of climb in our conversation to the point where we were both kind of high. And I felt that I had so basically the mood change, being one way and then switching it to be another way. And if you knew me, my whole past, I was never like that. I was never like I was always just present and engaging and happy and encouraging. And that, so basically I would say the signs is someone that is acting not like they usually are. Like some that are acting, you could just tell that they're different, even if they seem really happy and excited. They don't know that for me with the bipolar, I would crash after. I would get really depressed after being really kind of hypomanic, and so that would be one side, is the mood change. That was for me. And that just made me feel alone, made me feel different, made me feel like there was something wrong with me, because nobody else was like that. I was the only person that was like that. And so that was another thing, thinking that I was bad, or that I was, and also no future. I mean, in psychology, or in the psychology world, my world, they actually ask people, are you future minded? That's really important, to actually have some sort of plan for the future, be excited about something. I wasn't at all. I mean, I couldn't even tell you what I was doing on the weekend. And that was another thing. I would see other residents, and they were all, have plans to do this, playing on the soccer team, going out with a girl. And I'm just like, man, like, there's really something wrong with me. Like, just really like judging myself and comparing to other people.
And I'm also seeing how you just isolated yourself because of that. So you isolated. So I'm hearing you saying like there's a total change of personality almost, and then that isolation. So it's like on some level it's not to generalize or to make it less than, but it's like a typical kind of addictive, like an addiction kind of cycle behavior that you're doing, that you're going through. And then obviously then you survived, which is awesome. You're here to tell the tale, right? Mm-hmm. So what advice would you give someone who is in that, and advice, like it's not a preachy kind of thing. It's like more, what kind of direction can you give someone that's in your kind of dark place right now? What kind of direction would you lead them to get the support, or to find that hand that's reaching out to them, or to find a hand so that they don't get to the point where you did and jump off or do whatever they had in their head?
Yeah, I'll say something that I even use now, and it has to do with purpose. It has to do with hope. It has to do with pain and accepting pain. So basically, when you are in a place where you don't feel any hope, and you know that there's a lot of pain that you're going through, like right now in the moment. How do you feel better? How do you get out of that? I would say, what is, okay, purpose. Okay, we might not know our purpose like in the future. That's okay. Most people don't know exactly. I mean, but the fact that you believe that you have a purpose, and not just for your life, but a purpose for this pain that you're going through, that there's another side, that if you could just hold on and just make it, and believe that there's another side of this, that there's a reason why you're going through what you're going through. I do that when I experience either physical pain or mental pain, which still happens on a regular basis. And I'm kind of just desperate. Instead of giving up and saying this is going to be here forever, I don't want this. I'm gonna do something to take it out. You know what people do in order to escape. If I could just hold on to this pain for a little while, I'm going to experience the other side. There is some sort of purpose for what I'm going through. And I learned this because I survived my accident, and I put together rationally. I said, there must be a reason why I survived. And then because of that, because I believe that with all my heart, that I have a purpose. Before I didn't. But even if you don't really know your purpose, just knowing or believing that you have one is enough to get through some of the hardest things. And I still use this. I still use pain. I don't use pain. I still use purpose in order to help me with the pain. I think having a sense of purpose is so important. And like I said, even if you don't know what it is, you got to know that you got to believe that you have one. I mean, it just it just makes sense. It makes sense. The fact that I'm here and I've got all these blood vessels and cells and the brain is doing all these things. It might not be where I used to be, but there's a purpose for why it's here. I might not, and I said, and just having a sense, finding a sense of purpose. And if you could put that sense of purpose into your pain, you can transform it. You can transform it. Even right there, you can be like, you know what? I'm okay with this pain. Something good is going to happen to it, and I'm going to embrace this pain. And then I think transformation is going from the pain into the purpose. And then once you have the purpose, you have the joy, the fulfillment, and the hope. So it's got to. And if that doesn't work for you, find another way to get hope. Find another way to get into an environment of hope, whatever it is. But we need hope. You got to have a hope meter. So if your hope's down, you need to focus on how am I going to get hope back? How am I going to get some of it back? Because when you have hope, you have everything, really. Like, you really have so much to live for.
Thank you, Devin. And I'd like to just ask you another question. What what advice or direction would you give to a parent, to your mother, for example? Let's just use your mother, for example, who's looking at her son and doesn't understand, and doesn't know where to turn, and doesn't see any hands to help herself or help her son in this situation. What advice or what direction would you give her?
First of all, it's not their fault. They're not doing this in order to spite you or to come against you. They're doing this because we have a brain disorder, or we have this kind of, I call it lack of insight, where we can't see the big picture. All we can see is just ourselves. And so if you can kind of just forgive them and know that they're not doing this on purpose, they're not, even some of the things that they say or some of the things that they do, it's not them doing it. It's their kind of brain is trying to reconcile the imbalance, the depression with how life used to be. And so that's the first thing. It's not their fault. And the second thing is maybe any attempts to try to get out of it, anything, any effort that you see that they're trying to get out of it, I think that should be recognized. And I think maybe the whole term, I never knew this term until I started doing the peer classes, wellness. Wellness is a very universal term. You don't have to have a mental illness in order to practice wellness. And so as a parent, you could be an example by practicing wellness yourself, and maybe educating your family member what wellness is to you, and then maybe partnering. Say, you know what, let's go do this together, or let's do something together that will increase our wellness. Let's do some sort of wellness practice rather than staying stuck in the illness. And not saying illness, medication, therapy. Well, are you taking your medication? No. Do a whole different kind of paradigm, which is wellness. Like, have you done anything to to help to make you feel better today. If not, let's look at something that we could do together, like you know, go to the park, or just you know, cook together, or like you know, like just being aware of the wellness paradigm together. I think it could help.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you so much for your honesty and your vulnerability, because this is it's such a difficult thing, but I know that you'll speak to a whole lot of other people. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone. I know it's a dark subject, but really it isn't. It's let's change the paradigm, like Devin said, and let's make it wellness. Let's start looking at the light instead of the darkness. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you soon, and thank you, Devin.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Carina.
Bye-bye.
Bye.